Hi everyone, I welcome you all to the Jaw Developer Community's Tech Podcast series. Today, I have a very special guest for you all. We have Ashish Jain with us, who is currently the CFO of Lone Temp. So, obviously, this is Chavi, your podcaster of the day, and today we are going to discuss a lot about finance and also, like when it comes to Ashish, he is currently like handling the responsibilities of like finance, treasury, investor relationships, and compliance at the same time. So with that note, I welcome you, Ashish, to the today's podcast.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be having you and coming on this podcast. Looking forward.
Amazing, amazing. So with that note, let's first of all understand that how you started your journey and also how it feels to be a CFO at a company, like how the journey.
So I think is every journey is unique, and so was mine. Right. Started from a different background. At the first place, I was lucky enough to got placed in one of my dream company, right, which was KPMG, right. So and then from there, it's a different thing. So I think one important thing which I feel is that for everyone, there's a lot of opportunity which comes on the way. It's important that how we catch those opportunities and how we build on it, right. And definitely it's many of the time it's coming out of your comfort zone and seeing that how different you can do a role, and whatever comes to you, whether you'll be able to take it, right. So in my journey, I've seen multiple things coming to me and multiple opportunities, and I always kept that door open, that if opportunity comes, I will be, I'll walk extra mile and try to grasp it, so that I get more diversified experience. Because if you see the role of any CXO, and more importantly of CFO nowadays, is a versatile role. It's no more of accounting role, no more of a pure number role. It's only some part of it, right. It's more important. It's how versatile you are, how what kind of things you've built in your previous experiences, if you and how many things, how many pressure situations you've handled. So it comes when you are open, when you look beyond the finance arena and you look for an opportunity which makes you different professional. So in my journey, I would say that I started with a big four, which is KPMG. Then from did a multiple role, and there, being an audit background, it's I got exposure of multiple clients. I worked with 25, 30 clients there, right, which has helped us one in learning different culture, learning get to know different people, right. At very very early early age and early start, I got to know some of the very very bright professionals of the industry, and most of times it's just spent at the client, because it's a client facing job. You if you're if you're doing good at your job, it's recognition comes from not from internal, but it comes from external clients also, and it stays for a long time, right. So that's how the exposure at KPMG helped me in getting known to a wide base of companies which is into finance services. I worked almost like 30 plus companies there, and I've got rank. Got decent profile as far as clients are concerned. Uh, with that experience, I moved to IDFC Bank, right, which was earlier days used to be NBFC, but it was just slightly conservative in the sense it's a government-led organization. Setup was done by government, and then it moves to IDFC Bank. That point in time, it used to be IDFC Limited as a wholesale NBFC, which is slightly contrast in as far as the Big Four setup is concerned, because it's a very very it's a client facing job. It's a usually a pressure situation. IDFC on the contrary side, it's a I would say conservative setup, but very much into process oriented, very much focused on technology, very much focused on people. So that organization has given me all round profile in terms of regulatory, handling SEB listing requirements, having finance, MIS, etc., etc. Right. Again, it's I kept my role open. I was fortunate enough to get into treasury role for some time in IDFC, then moved back to finance, then did an Index implementation for some time, right. So again, different roles at different point in time, and that's how sometime after that, I moved to L&T Finance in a larger role, right, where I was handling a group role. So again, there also within span of you can say 4 to 6 quarters, I worked on at least 7 to 8 roles, right? And within first quarter after, I was leading treasury for some time. Then I moved to doing from wholesale. I moved to doing retail. So and then again there was a project which I was working on. So that's how, I mean, as and when the opportunity comes in, I always kept my eyes and ear open. I thought that if it may be out of my comfort zone, but it's good, it's worth taking it, right? Because in some point in life you would need to take in, so why not do it at early age? So that's how I think that's the multiple roles working in different pressure situations has helped me to grow more and more, and at a much faster pace and at a younger age. And after that work with Altico, then after working with the larger setups, throughout with the likes of KPMG, IDFC, and L&T, I was aspiring to do something in a startup, because there's a startup was a buzzword now, and then and now also, right? So there was a zeal to work in a startup, understand what they do and build something from scratch, and that's how I led it to Loan Tap. So this is about me. I mean, this is like any CXO journey. My journey was also similar, but only thing is that I take the risk to an extent, taking different roles, taking different whatever opportunity comes in. At some time it feels like that you are going out of your way, why you're not building on what you've done so far. It's better to continue and working on your experience, but this type of things helps you in developing an own professional. So that's what I think. It's a journey. That's how it helped me to be a CFO.
That's actually pretty much amazing. And also, moving with that, it's one thing that comes to everyone's mind that you have like done so many amazing like job roles at some amazing companies. So, as you mentioned that there was a buzz, but apart from that, what was that one thing that actually struck you and you thought of, okay, let's start something? And also, tell us something more about Loan Tap as well, like what it is currently doing and how is it working in India, and if it's global, then how it's actually working globally as well.
So, LoanTap is basically a fintech, which is a digital NBFC. We are into lending business, we are into technology business, and this is started by our founders, basically who come from banking background, and most of our leadership is from banking background. The what we are trying to set up and build on is basically a organization which within the space, which is in a digital space, build a portfolio which is more like a bank, which is a credible and quality portfolio over the period of time. And we are serving the mainly the salaried customers. So I mean, most of the NBFCs fintech which has come around is focus more on MSME, SME. Our focus since inception is more on a salaried customer, because we believe this segment has much more potential, and this segment has much more value as far as the credit is concerned. So LoanTap is essentially a platform where we are doing a digital lending. We are working on a partnership model. We have some of the largest partners like so Big Basket. We have Make My Trip. So we have partnership with some of the large consumer portals, right? From where we are sourcing our customers, and we know we are dispersing to those customers. So that's what LoanTap is all about. In my role, I'm taking care of entire treasury function, which is essentially the fundraise for the company. Because in NBFC business, you know that it's funds are the raw material for us, right? So I'm into fundraise. I'm also taking care of finance function as a CFO, and gradually, and then to do more and more role, I've taken a role for building the co-lending profile for the company, where we have built 7 to 8 partners already, and also now running a distribution business. So which is essentially distributing our sourcing which we are doing, the volume which we are generating, we are now distributing to other financial institutions also. So these are some of the besides finance role, my keenness to take more and more. I again here also lucky enough, and promoters has interested me with the more and more roles. So with this, there's all these roles I'm taking care of. Of course, needless to say, the compliance, finance operations also come along to me, right? So that's what I'm doing about here in LoanTap, and I think overall it's a strong team which we are working together, and we're very well funded by some of the prominent investors also. So that's about LoanTap. That's how how it got attracted to work in this setup, because one, it brings my experience of working throughout in financial services right from start. Second, it gives me an edge of more like working as the owner of the company, right? Because it's from day one the responsibilities entrusted to me is like an honor. And at times it feels that promoter gives you full entire freedom to you to to go ahead and execute which in the organization favor. So that way it's a beautiful journey so far. Of course it's challenging at times, and it brings a lot of effort, and it's a teamwork, but at the end it feels that you've achieved something. It's being built from scratch. That's what I aspired, moving from a larger setup and joining startup in form of loan tap.
So actually, that's pretty much amazing about Lone Tap, and I really loved how you are working, and the team is also rigorously working every day. In that case, how your day looks like, because ultimately we actually hear a lot about chief officers. Okay, there are so many types of chief officers, but we don't actually understand how your day looks like. Okay, because you're not just working on the finance part, you're managing the team, you're managing so many internal things that are actually not in your work. So in that case, just would love to hear how your day looks like as a CFO.
So they look like typically it's there are multiple things. This sometimes you need to address a fire. Sometimes you need to work along with promoters. Sometimes you need to work with the team. But what I learned is that you can do multiple things, but key is to focus one thing at a time. So as much as possible, I try and focus at one thing at a time. I do a follow kind of a blocking technique, that I block particular time for particular team, right? So every day I've been able to discuss, get interaction with each of my team member or many of my team members in a way that I earmark some time of each of them. So that way I think if it's organized in that way, you can still address multiple things in a day. Otherwise it's a messy affair. I mean, because in finance you know that each time there is some difference of some RBI regulations change, something happened, some external inquiries coming, some business issues or something. I mean, there's each different things which crops up. But like I said, it's key to have demarcated time as much as possible. Of course, that cannot avoid that you are completely working in a planned manner. Of course, there are times which is spent on firefighting, and at the same time, I prefer keeping some time for networking, to discuss my colleagues, discuss my team, so that it helps me in understanding what's happening in surrounding, right? How people are thinking, how what can be done, and what at the bottom level people are thinking, what at the middle level people are thinking, right? So that gives you perspective that how organization is perceived and what is expected going forward. And since many of them are market facing people, they bring knowledge from market that this is what is happening around. So it's important in a professional life, and most importantly for a finance function, to have time in a day to see through from others eyes, right? To see that what's happening, what knowledge others are bringing, which you can use and in your role. So that's how my day look like.
That's actually amazing to hear. And obviously, like there are so many misconceptions that goes about CFO, and also I hope people also got to know how it looks like, because again, as you also did, like jumping from being an employee to being someone who is managing the everything is not actually an easy task. So it is very much important for this understanding. And moving with that, when it comes to fintech companies, how to create that buzz, because ultimately people go with the trend. People say that okay, if you are having the buzz in the present time, we are yours. So that's how things work. In that case, like Lone Tap is also having that buzz right now. So how you keep up that buzz and how it works actually in like internally.
So I think it's not about keeping the buzz. I think it's doing something which is ahead of, in terms of technology, doing ahead of what other institutions are doing, right? Which other traditional institutions typically take some time, take to build the technology. We believe that we remain ahead of the curve, so that we remain in limelight, right? And that's how we able to generate customers, right? Which could and we able to attract customer who otherwise could be banking customer will come to us, because we delight our customer by having a superior technology, by giving them a lower tag, by giving a customer experience, right? So that's how it's all put together. It's where you and it's a day-to-day affair. It can't be that one day that okay, we have done a setup which is fintech and customer will come to us. Every day we need to innovate, we need to work on what we have done yesterday and bring something better, right? And we, of course, needless to say, that we have to bring it faster than others. So that's what I think fintech is all about. It's an emerging organization, and it remain into it in limelight since it brings a lot of value, right? And it is by structuring the product, by having an employee experience, by taking their feedback, by helping them in time of need, right? Which typically bank if, may take some time, which we usually do loans in a day's time or maximum in 2 days time. So that's how I think we bring value to our customers, and that's how fintech is seen as a valuable industry now.
Got it. And also, like, lastly, I would love to know one thing from you, that being a CFO, you have obviously got to know a lot of things internally, externally, how it works, because it's totally different from people who are watching it outside, and it's totally different internally. So, what are the three top tips or anything that you wanted to share with the listeners, so that if they also want to jump into the finance company, not obviously CFO, it's not that much easy to be one, but yeah, if they want to get started with the finance, or if they want to understand more about this whole roles and responsibilities, what all things they should keep in mind before jumping into this field or understanding it deeply?
Sure. So I think at the first place, I would think that anybody who is into finance and who want to excel to becoming a CFO, one important aspect is the taking the risk, right? And when I say it's risk is always a calculated risk, because many a times I've seen many of the finance professionals who are very good. I mean, who are exceptionally good in finance, who are exceptionally good in numbers, but they take time to move to level of CFO, mainly because I think they lack decision making skills, or they take like sometimes they're not able to take risk in a calculated manner. Because unless you are able to take decisions, and unless you are able to take a calculated risk in favor of organization, it will be difficult for anybody to entrust you with the CXO role, right? So that's one of the key thing which I think anybody who is into finance role and want to become to next level should decide. And of course, always to note that it has to be, risk is always, it's not that it's random, right? It has to come from experience, it has to come from consultation, it has to come in a calculated manner, so it does not harm organization in any way. The other thing which I feel is basically, of course, it's an integrity which is very much essential for a finance person. You always need to be appear, look, and image should be that the integrity of the person is really high, because you are interested, like you are a gatekeeper, like the finance people are known because of the funds of the company. So that's a very important aspect of any finance professional, that you could be interested with the entire funds of the company, but then the one who is giving you that power is 100% sure that this is in right hands. So that is built over the period of time, but yeah, it is very important factor for a finance professional to have it. It's a very key parameter. Other, I think, I would say it's always keep an eye to what you want to become, because in my view, unless you know, or unless you desire what you wish to know, it's very difficult to get there, right? Because you need to have the ability to grasp the opportunity, to first to sight the opportunity and then grasp it. So that's what I mean. Each and every time, whenever something comes up, it's important that you take it up. It's most of the time it's coming out of a comfort zone, but it might be painful in a short term. But trust me, it gives you lots and lots of value, and it makes you all round professional, right? And become a CFO, need to be have an all round impact. That's how you grow to a CXO level.
That's really great. Thanks a lot for sharing such an amazing experience. And also, I'm pretty much sure this podcast will help a lot of listeners out there to understand more about this whole role and also about how it actually feels to be one CFO. So thanks a lot, Ashish, for joining us today, and it was really great hosting you today.
Thank you very much. Equally pleasure to me. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Stay tuned for our upcoming podcast, and we are surely be coming up with amazing podcast episode. Till then, stay tuned. Bye bye.